You actually have the documentation in place. Look, if stage one in this conflict resolution process is to assume positive intent and to seek to understand, phase two is understand the perceived conflict versus the felt conflict. The perceived conflict versus the felt conflict. What is the perceived conflict that you see versus the felt conflict that the tenant is having with you? Then you have to look at intentions. One of the things that my wife and I always tell my daughter is that we don't care what other people do, we care what they want. Focus on the intention. Focus on what somebody's trying to achieve and trying to do. And this is you, the landlord, looking at what the tenant's intentions were. Was the tenant's intention to destroy your property? Is that the premise that they've started from? Was it their intention to clog up the sewer line? Or did something happen that caused that situation to occur? Then not only paying attention to the competing or collaboration or compromising phase, but the avoiding or accommodating phase in the intention. What are you avoiding talking about with the tenant, and what are you willing to accommodate for the tenant? Have you laid those things out and had that conversation with them? If you haven't, then this is where additional frustrations can come from, because you're doing something to somebody else. You're controlling them and their environment before helping them understand that this was a problem and here's the consequence if we don't get resolution. You got to take the time to do this professionally, guys, or they're going to do even more damage inside your property than necessary. Then you have to look at this step here, which is the stage 4, the parties' behavior and their reactions. If you're going to resolve conflict, what was the behavior? How long did it take that tenant to get back to you when you sent them their late notice? Did they call you right away and they were just mad that you sent them a late notice? Or did they take 3 weeks and then finally return your phone call? It shows a level of importance to them. How fast somebody contacts you in a conflict is an exact sign of their care for you as a person. I know they might call you and curse at you and scream at you, and you're frustrated and you won't take the cursing, so you hang up the phone on them, and then you have to call them back later on. I get all that. I understand all that. I'm not telling you to take abuse. I'm telling you that when that tenant calls you immediately, it tells you that they care about their rent. In fact, I tell tenants all the time whenever they call me and they're frustrated about something, I appreciate that you're frustrated about this. It lets me know that you care about this situation. And I truly mean it. I mean it. Them calling me about the situation that they're frustrated about, there's communication that's happening. We haven't stopped talking to each other yet. We don't have to move to anger and destruction and vandalism that's happening inside of the property, because I know that they're frustrated. So I know that they're frustrated means that they care about it, and I care about them, so I want to come to a resolution. And then stage 5 is talk about the potential for different outcomes. What are some different outcomes that you'd like to see? What are some outcomes that I would like to see? Give yourself the opportunity to walk through these different outcomes that are possible before ending the resolution with the tenant. Now, there are some situations that are not resolvable, and that's okay. That's okay. That's why it's so important to know the facts in the situation. There are some situations that are not resolvable. So in stage 4, you have behavior. Stage 5, you have outcomes. There are some resolutions that are not acceptable for you on your part.